2026-0401. The applicant is Christopher Everhart. A variance from development standards at 2320 Hidden Lake Road. Leah.
Yes. All right, so this petitioner filed for a variance from development standards to allow an 8-foot fence in the C2 zoning district where the fence is not to exceed 6 feet. And there are actually 2 fences being installed. The first is the dumpster enclosure as required by the city of Warsaw, which would be 8 feet. And then the second is fencing that surrounds the storage area, also seen below, again, 8 feet. So the proposed fencing was reviewed by the planning department. We don't see any issues with the proposal, as it otherwise adheres to the Warsaw Municipal Code regarding fencing. In its deliberation, I asked the board to consider whether this petition meets the following criteria, those 3 outlined there below. Any questions?
Did mailings go out?
Yes.
Any response from those?
Nope.
Okay. Any questions of Leah before I open this up to the petitioner?
The rationale for the fence, just out of curiosity, just, are they low or they just want more?
Specifically, I don't know, I'm assuming just to hide the storage. I know dumpster, maybe to keep everything copacetic, I'm not.
Okay, that's fine.
Anything else? If the petitioner would like to step up to the podium, please state your name for all of us and the press. Please.
Evening, my name is Jeff Blair, I'm with the Central Midwest Regional Council of Carpenters. So what we would like to do is install an 8-foot fence on the south end of the building. Yes, we will have some material storage. We'll also have some equipment out there. So for a couple reasons, a little bit added security, just as well as appearance. It's going to be a black zinc-coated chain link fence, and then we're proposing putting black sladding in there just to kind of hide. And then the dumpster enclosure is just, I want to say most of those dumpsters probably are about 6 feet tall, so again, to try and hide it, to make it look a little bit better.
Just out of curiosity, approximately how many lineal feet of fencing do we have?
So I knew you were gonna ask that, and I got a new laptop and I couldn't get all this. So the area is 10,000 square feet, so I assume it's 3-sided, so I would imagine it's 100 by 100,
Okay,
so more than likely 300 feet.
okay. Thank you. Any questions of the petitioner?
Just, how soon do you see yourself moving into the building? Is it coming along?
So foundations have started, helicals have started. My best guess is somewhere around June, July of next year.
Okay.
That's not what the contractor's saying, but that's my best guess. Because we'll run into some weather, like days like today, so I'm hoping it's sooner, but, yeah, I would say June, July.
Excited for you.
Yeah.
No, we're excited, it's going well.
This would be along the perimeter of the property, or?
So it'll be on the south end, there's gonna be 30,000 square feet of precast construction.
Okay.
And our thinking is if we ever need to expand, we can go to the south, we can use that area and put on another 10,000 square feet if needed, down the road.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Best wishes.
Any other, do we have anyone here in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone in opposition of it? With that, I will close this to the public. Do we have any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved to approve.
Thank you, Zach. Second. Dwayne, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Up next, we have John Foster with, at 347 North Buffalo Street with a, what do we want to do? Allow a business in an R3 zone. Leah?
Yes. So, here, the petitioner is seeking, permission to allow a restaurant in R3 zone. The intent of this R3 district is to create predominantly residential environment, but it also includes schools, parks, and some professional and commercial uses, which would serve the neighborhood. I'm not sure you guys are familiar with Three Crowns, is currently located at 941 North Detroit Street, and they would like to relocate. They plan have about 15 tables. Currently, there are 11 parking spots, and hours of operation will remain the same. Something else to consider with this variance is the parking. Warsaw Municipal Code for drive-in restaurant states,
Why do you call it a drive-in restaurant?
because you can park.
You can park in any restaurant.
Some of them, I don't know, just the way the ordinance is
I
labeled,
mean, we're not
it's
getting
kind of
a
funny.
drive-in like McDonald's,
Drive-through.
Those are drive-throughs,
Yeah,
The old Penguin Point. The
Yeah.
old Gardner's where that's a drive-in.
mhm.
But I don't see why you call this a drive-in.
I don't know, just based on the
Shouldn't it just
code,
be a restaurant?
yes.
Because there isn't. There isn't just a restaurant.
I didn't write the code.
There's a provision code for restaurants and drive-in restaurants.
So for parking, it's 1 per 2 employees, plus 1 per 3 at maximum seating capacity, plus 1 for every curb space. So the anticipated use of the parking based on the ordinance is 4 residential four for the residential area upstairs, 1 for employee parking, and given that maximum capacity of the restaurant will be about 40, maybe more, 15 parking spaces are needed, and as it stands, like I said previously, there are 11 parking spaces. However, the anticipation is that families will be at the park and walk over to the restaurant and enjoy, so we won't need as much, or they won't need as much parking space. And based on all of that, the planning department has reviewed all of this and just ask that the board considers the following 5 criteria for this variance request.
Thank you. Any
And you-
questions?
Well, yeah, did you give a recommendation possibly then?
We are neutral on this, we made no recommendation.
But the thing I received through the city board, it said it'd be 15 tables.
15 tables. I
Because you anticipate 4 per table.
Well, do you wanna answer that about 4? Okay.
Okay, so wouldn't that be then 20 parking spaces needed just for the restaurant?
Well,
Under the zoning ordinance?
yes, and at the time, I think we had calculated for 2. I was unsure of how many would be at
Some are 2, some are 4.
4, yeah, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Is this your alma mater, the building?
No,
Isn't that where you were?
no. I was Paul Rayfield.
All Rayfiers.
Oh, it's Paul Rayfier's.
Mhm.
I thought someone told me it was the law office there on the corner where Harrison.
It's
Paul
down
Rayfier's
at-
place.
it's down at that
Yeah,
corner.
no, I know that well too,
You're
yeah.
actually confused. Whatever.
Paul Rayfier's place, right, got it, yeah.
That's what it is. Did mailings go out, Leanne?
Yes.
Any
Nope.
comments or anything out of that? Okay.
Where do we expect excess parking?
Parking to
over?
look.
I mean, like, if they're gonna have a busy night, where are people gonna park?
So,
Street parking.
based on the information that I've gathered from the petitioner, he typically doesn't use maximum capacity at his current spot, which is 18, and he said maybe 1 day out of that week is maximum capacity. I would assume, like, he anticipates they would use the parking at the park and walk over. I think the kind of vision is that they'd be spending their day at the park, and then they get hungry or want a coffee, walk over, go back.
You can park all along.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
if you park all along
Within half a
there.
block, you got another
Street
10 parking spots.
That one.
If you're done with questions from Leah, why don't I open this
Yeah,
up to
open
the
up the
petitioner and he can answer your questions in full. Sir, John Foster, is that who my petitioner is? State your name, please.
I'm John Foster. We'll be taking over that property from the Refuers this summer. What we hope to do is take our family business owned by my son-in-law, Obi, and his wife. They've been in the location where they are now for about the last 5 years. They've shown themselves to be a very nice part of the community and very helpful, not dangerous to anybody. What we would like to do is move into a somewhat more scenic area, somewhere with safer traffic patterns, and somewhere where there's not so much noise pollution that building would be an Airbnb. I think that would be a nice little addition to the area. As far as the parking, yes, there's a lot of parking on the street. I don't know how you feel about, there's a back parking lot by the cabin as well, that's closer, but, yeah, there's those 4 large parking spots over by the main area. How can I help you with your questions?
Well, Lon, is this, what's your menu? Is it primarily a coffee shop, or do you have like a wide variety of food options, or?
So it's primarily coffee with a few baked goods.
Yeah.
Currently, there's some ramen, but I believe that will be removed from the menu.
It's kind of a low density thing anyways.
It is.
Yeah. You gonna open up that balcony, it'll be kind of cool.
Do I have to get another variance?
I don't know, that'd be sweet, if there, 3 coffee, we got it in Center Lake, like that.
We'd like to have an outdoor seating area.
Yeah.
So part of our vision is to, currently there are windows that do not open. And we would like to change those windows out to something where, yes, on nicer days, we could open some windows and people could look out on the lake and enjoy their coffee
Just like the garage doors on the current location.
Yeah.
without the noise.
Without the noise and the dangerous traffic.
Yeah.
Trying to turn left out of there is a real struggle, to say the least, on any time around 15, so. No doubt, you're looking for some more foot traffic as well, I would imagine, considering the location.
Well, yeah, that and, you know, we don't have a lot of businesses right in that area right now. And I think with what the planned development or redevelopment is, I think that would be a nice little draw, nice little addition to what everybody, you know, would want. And if you had a festival down that street, there's no neighbors close by, you know, to worry about. We're not really noisy business. We'll keep the dance nights down, I'm sure. But other than that, there's really nothing. We, you know, clean up after ourselves. There's not gonna be any major renovations to the building on the exterior. It's gonna look a lot like it does, maybe a mural or two. I don't know if you've familiarized yourself with different small towns that are doing small murals of flowers or something like this. You know, we were thinking about something to that effect, something that would add to the community. Yes, sir.
Well, is there a drive-through option, or do you just have to walk in, or a car can come in?
Walk in.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, there won't be, there's not enough room for a drive-through.
Have you inquired about the availability of the property immediately adjoining to the south?
I have not. It's owned by the city of Warsaw. Do you know anybody?
Well, probably so.
We would love to have
Matthew Construction doesn't own that? The city owns it?
You know, when I bring up, I believe it's Beacon Schneider, I thought it was the city of
Yeah,
Warsaw.
it's a city.
Okay. There you go.
So if the city was willing to partner with it,
Good guy.
yeah.
Real estate guy.
He's shaking his
Let's
head
build a
like.
parking garage.
Well, that's county, yeah.
Any further questions of the petitioner?
And how many employees will there be? Just 2?
No, this
I
guy
am
has.
not, I'm sorry, I am
No.
John, I'm mother-in-law to him.
Okay.
You wanna speak to
Those-
that?
There's typically employees I have anywhere between, 2 and 6 at a time. Right now I have 4 employees.
And 2 working at it.
Yeah, 2 working at a time, so there's always 2 on retainer and then there's 2 that are usually in there with me, or usually just 1 with me. It depends on how busy the day is. Busy weekends where we fill up and I'll have 2 or 3 people working with me.
It wasn't mentioned earlier, but there is a three-bay garage, and two of those bays will be used by family parking their vehicles.
That helps. Any other questions? All right, with that, thank you. Do I have anyone else in the audience that would like to speak in favor of this petition?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Anyone
What a
speaking in
shock.
opposition of this petition? With that, I will close this to the floor. Any further discussion? If not, I will entertain a motion.
So I have a big problem.
Okay.
I think the idea is great. However, we don't have the proper zoning for it. And I don't think we should have a way of a variance. We don't meet the criteria of our ordinance or Indiana statute in regard to a variance. We have to show special conditions. What are the special conditions of this property? It's an R3, all around it's R3. That's what the city plan has done. Now, there may be other plans for that area, but they haven't been changed by ordinance, and we have to follow the ordinance. If we do that, to grant a variance from this, it's under permitted uses, they provide for special exceptions for certain cases. And this is not one of those permitted, allowed even a special exception, so it has to be a variance. A variance has to show unnecessary hardship if it's not granted. What is the unnecessary hardship? Because it would still have economic viability if this petition is not granted. The need for variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. This doesn't have it. Strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship to the property. It doesn't. It still has economic viability as it is. Really, an unnecessary hardship would effectively deprive the parcel owner of all reasonable economic use of this parcel. You can't find there's an unnecessary hardship. You can't find from anything that's been presented to us that what is necessary for a variance is here. It's a great idea, but we don't have the right vehicle for it. It needs to be rezoned, not be granted a variance. If this goes out of business, then we have a variance that allows a restaurant there. How many parking spaces it needs? Well, if they have 15 tables, you anticipate 4 per table. You need 20 parking spaces. For each employee, for each one employee, you need 1 for 2 employees. And we don't have that. You gotta think about the future, not for just this. I like the idea. But it's not the way to do it. You either rezone it by the plan commission in the city, but don't grant the variance because it does not meet the criteria of our state law or our ordinance.
Thank you.
Justin, do you have any thoughts about the viability of the criteria?
I think Huffer has some good points. You definitely want to consider the criteria of the finding of fact. You could, if you did choose to approve the variance, you could make it for the use of a coffee shop, not just a restaurant, so it doesn't open the door.
They could.
It's set up. So it doesn't open the door for any restaurant, so you could say this variance could be approved for a coffee shop. That way it's not wide open for any restaurant, as you noted. I don't know why it's doing it. Some potential considerations to make for the property, the Hyatt Home Study does, I think that overlay, those considerations could make it maybe a little bit more peculiar than other properties, but doesn't necessarily mean you guys would be, I think there's some good points brought up as far as.
You remember that study?
Yeah.
Is that part of our comprehensive plan?
It was approved by the council.
Is it a part of our comprehensive plan now?
No, I think some of the ideas are, but I would have to look through to see what they brought forward.
That was just being given to us, doesn't show that it is.
Yeah, you're right. So those are just my initial thoughts.
Thank you.
I have a couple thoughts. One is, across the street was supposed to be a combination of apartments and businesses too, so it's not a foreign idea in my mind, that there was gonna be some sort of restaurants, et cetera, in that area
Correct.
to enhance it. Secondly, I'm very familiar with the property because I knew Paul fairly well. It was really first and foremost offices, not a residence. The residence is kind of secondary upstairs, but he had businesses in there, orthopedic businesses and whatnot he rented out to. So, in my mind, the thing is not really a residential residence. It's a unique property that had dual purpose. And so, I don't see how you easily get some family to buy that, expect the family to go in there when the whole bottom of this area is set up as offices. And so, I guess I do see a hardship in my mind, in terms of this is a unique property, and perhaps what Justin just says is a good way to limit, putting in a McDonald's there or something, like talking about it being a coffee shop as opposed to a restaurant.
And we wouldn't necessarily consider the rezoning of that one parcel, but a bigger holistic view, maybe that all should be C4 up there.
Well, that kind of goes with the whole spot zoning thing that we don't really like doing either.
Yeah, we don't really get into the spot zoning, but that whole area, that's all our agree, potentially could evolve into being more closer to C4.
My last question is, are you radioactive or something?
I don't know what's happening. I think we get kind of nervous.
Where you been?
Jefferson, you really would have to be like, they talk about plans for North Buffalo Street, which have failed miserably, it looks like. Present.
I wouldn't be so, those types of redevelopments take a long time to do. And
But
one,
if the plan is to put something commercial in that one area where the waterworks would be, that would, then this could be included, it wouldn't be spot zoning.
that's what I was saying. I do agree with you. I think there is potentially a need to look at the zoning holistically in that area. That doesn't necessarily help this case, and I think that could be an argument for what's peculiar about this specific use request for that parcel. It is surrounded by this idea that we want to have this mixed-use development up by the lake. Let me see if I can adjust that.
Yeah, I
So,
accept,
you've been,
I
you've been around some
accept
nasty stuff.
Oh,
turned it off.
let's see.
I turned that off.
Okay, yeah, that was it. So hopefully that helps. I didn't want to muddy the waters. You have some really good points, however, I think there's a lot to consider on this one.
Thank you, Taylor.
Further discussion? I know it's hard, this one's hard. I get